Good morning and welcome back to Coffee Talk. Happy, I don't know what we're calling it these days. Blur's Day? Thirsty Thursday?
We need a new title.
We need a new Thursday title.
Thursday is so COVID-19.
It's so 2020.
So 2020.
So funny. Funny, but not funny. I saw a company posting up about doing a virtual race. And I thought, that stuff doesn't faze me at all. Good morning, Robin. Happy birthday, my friend. I love it. And good morning, Kim. And it was so funny. The comments, I don't even know why I bothered to read them, but they made me chuckle. People were like, why is this a virtual run? That's so 2020. I just had to chuckle to myself at how petty people can be. Victoria, good morning. Stacy, good morning. Sarah, good morning. Stacy, good morning. And if that's you, if you're one of those people, I just said it like, I say it like how I feel it. Karen, good morning. Kimberly, good morning. Corey, good morning. Coaches. Ooh, how about Thankful Thursday? Thankful Thursday. I love it. Janet, good morning. It just made me chuckle because I thought, if you don't want to do a virtual race, then what do you care if they're doing one? Just go find one that's in person. Like, I love how people feel like they have to get their 2 cents in on everything. Jenny, good morning. Debbie, good morning. Tammy, good morning. Dina, good morning. I love it. And hold on, that's no fun. That's like a naked cup. What is that? There's only writing on one side of this. Mama needs some coffee. Mama needs some coffee. Tammy, good morning. Dina, Kara, I love it, my friends. I love it. I may not sound like I'm feeling better, but I am feeling better. So I don't know. I think it was allergies that maybe turned into maybe a little bit of a head cold. And here is what I'm blaming this on. Here is the culprit. Does everybody remember, was it a couple weeks ago when we went up to Door County and I stuck my feet in cold water? I am saying that is the culprit of where this came from. It could be the allergies from being out doing yard work, but I'm totally blaming the fact that I stuck my feet in cold water. Amy, good morning. Amy, where's Chuck? Is this a test? Do we need to contact the authorities?
Help!
If you contact the authorities, Amy, I know where you live too. I've got a crazy streak in me, but don't we all have a crazy streak in us, or am I the only one? I'll feel a little bad if I'm the only one.
I'm here.
He's here. No shanks have been used in the making of this. So this is the other men's t-shirt. I didn't wear mine today, and I'm gonna tell you why, for real. The shirt requires a specific kind of bra. One that I wasn't willing to put on this morning. I wanted to put on my stretchy, comfortable sports bra that I wear 90% of the time. I don't like to wear regular bras. They drive me crazy. What's the use of them? So that is why I did not wear the shirt. That's it. That's my honest reason. That's my honest answer. The bra I have on has absolutely no support.
You've never been on camera.
It is absolutely comfortable.
Come here.
Dad, don't get her riled up.
The shepherd wants to be on camera.
Don't get her riled up. Oh, Lord.
My shepherd, baby.
It's too slippery.
Oh, it's too slippery for the shepherd.
All right. So the name of today's... Hello, Alyssa.
It's an earthquake around here.
The name of today's show is Treats, Cheats, and Demons.
It rhymes. It rhymes.
Treats, Cheats, and Demons. So for the past, couple of days, we've been talking about food and like not eating it and all that, but I feel like there's kind of a spin on it and we're demonizing food, and that is not what we want to do. What we've been talking about the past, I say a couple days, but I feel like it's been a year, is when we are eating food in an emotional state. That's when I think we shouldn't be eating them. I feel like anything out in the world is game. Anything. You want a cookie, you want a cupcake, you want pizza, you want Chinese, have a plan for it. Don't plan on when you have a bad day. that then everything goes out the window, and that's when you should eat it, because all that is all the years of bad habits still taking control of where you are today.
Good. All right. We got Kelly and Lisa.
We got Kelly and Lisa. Good morning.
Yeah. So guys, if you caught my new nugget on Tuesday, we talked about good versus bad. And it's this whole conversation around a concept called moral licensing, right? We bring our morals into the conversation and we paint things as good or bad, which is kind of that whole conversation we went on, being prideful or punishing ourselves. So part of this conversation, a small part of it, is going to be about the fact that we use food as a coping mechanism, right? So we use it as a coping mechanism in regards to how we handle the stressors of our lives, right? And then we also use it as a reward, specifically like, I was really good this week, so I deserve fill in the blank, right? So that's part of the conversation, but I want to get deeper into this conversation. I really want to talk more about the whole concept of how do you take any food, call it a cheat, call it a treat. We don't call it a cheat around here. I don't like that word because you're cheating on yourself. That sounds weird, but call it a treat, call it a cheat, whatever. These are the stereotypical naughty foods. So how do I have my naughty foods and get in shape? We're not going to call them naughty, but these are the ways that we've been taught to think about them, right?
And it's crazy to think you're never going to have these foods again for the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's just food. It's just food, right? So at the end of the day, food is going to do something specifically to you internally, right? If you consume too much of something, if you overconsume calories more than you move, you're going to gain body fat. Body fat. If you consume significant amounts of sugar, right, certain things can happen. Now, like massive amounts, right? The diabetes conversation, a significant amount of trans fat, heart disease conversation, a lot of
high blood pressure,
achy joints,
cancer,
right? So these are all the things, but we're not here to demonize those, right? But if we can get control over our consumption of them, that's the conversation we want to have today. So the whole have my cake and eat it too conversation, when Coach Roxanne and I, it kind of boils down to number one, a plan, and number two, tracking these things, right? So you've heard us talk a lot about like we go out to have dinner, we end the night with a slice of cheesecake, maybe we have a glass of wine, all right? Number one, that is worked into, it's figured into our entire week. We look at our entire week, right? And I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt how much sugar or alcohol, if we're choosing to have it, is built in. It's not spontaneous. It's not random, right? It's definitely not reactive emotionally because we get triggered. We find ourselves in these situations. We have habits and rituals, right? But we're regaining control over them.
And so every time we make our menu plan, we do it for 2 weeks, and I'll say, do you want to plan anything? Do you want to plan a sushi night? Do you want to plan a Thai night? Do we want to go to Door County and plan to have our breakfast on the way up? Like, it's a plan. And it was funny because Chuck said for his entire life, he resisted that plan.
Yeah, so I grew up in a household where my dad, he's a veteran. He's an Air Force veteran. He served for, I don't know, like, my goodness, I think he did 8 years and 10 years, I don't know, something, whatever. He's a military man, right? My dad was very rigid, like always knew where everything was, plan every minute of the day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so rigid. That's so boxed. I use the excuse of not having a plan so that I can have freedom in my life, right? But what I've come to realize is the more I plan, the more I track what I'm doing, I actually create more freedom for myself and less chaos, because the less planning, the more chaos, the more reactionary I've become. And I felt like just because I had this concept in my head is if I was going to plan out every single thing, life wouldn't be fun. I couldn't enjoy life. That is a crazy story and a crazy excuse for just being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, which usually led, I'm going to say this for real, like that usually led 9 times out of 10 to decisions that didn't necessarily serve me. And I don't mean that I was eating, it wasn't about the naughty food conversation. It was that a treat would turn into a whole container of cookies, a little treat would turn into an entire day. It would be going out for breakfast and having pancakes and then eating pizza for lunch and then having a burger and fries for dinner and top that off with ice cream and a couple of beers.
So what I used to do, and this is so funny, when, back when I was 240 pounds, I never planned what I was bringing to lunch for work. I would never plan what I was bringing for work because I wanted to wing it. Who knew? Maybe we'd order out that day. 9 times out of 10, I would drive somewhere to get a lunch. I didn't want to have to plan a lunch. When people start joining us and they talk about, food is it's the hardest part for me. My question is, what are you having for lunch tomorrow? What are you making for supper tomorrow? And the answer would be, well, I don't know. My rebuttal is, what's in your fridge? What's in your freezer? Why don't you know what you're having? That's where success comes in. What's the next 24 hours look like? What do the next 4 hours look like? Do you have that plan? Do you have your food packed? Do you have your smoothie made? Do you have your breakfast ready to go? What's going to happen? Or are you just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, hoping that whatever is around will allow you to make a healthy decision?
Okay, so I can literally, in 1992, all right, I'm going to rewind. All right.
Whoa.
In 92, and I'm dating myself, whatever. So 92 was when I started middle school, right? I was 12 years old, and in middle school, this is where I began to gain all of my weight. A little bit in 5th grade, okay? But I was like a real skinny little kid, and then I hit puberty. 5th grade, I started to gain a little bit of weight. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, I gained tons of weight. This is where I began my puberty, but my adolescent obesity. And this is crazy that I can even remember this. This is where it's at. When I was in elementary school, my mom told me, and you only had 2 choices. It was either hot lunch and they gave you whatever you gave, or my mom would pack a lunch, and the lunch ladies would come by and make sure you ate what was in your lunch, right? And this is what my mom would pack me. She'd pack me a sandwich. She would pack me a vegetable, right? And then she would pack me one little treat, right? And that was that, right? So vegetables, fruit, like an apple, some carrots, a sandwich, and then I'd get one little treat. And I was like, of course, as a kid, you'd eat the treat first, right? When I got to middle school, here's the deal. There was something called a la carte. A la carte. So now you had your choice between hot lunch, you get what they give you, cold lunch, what you pack, or a la carte. I even remember having a packed lunch, going to school, taking the treat out, throwing the lunch away, and using my allowance money for a la carte. And why did I go a la carte? Because a la carte had mozzarella sticks, a la carte had Little Debbie's, a la carte had pizza, a la carte had nachos, a la carte had burgers. It was all the fun stuff. And eventually I stopped bringing lunches altogether. I gained so much weight because it was easier to basically, it's crazy, right? Have you ever packed a lunch and then not ate it because you went out to lunch somewhere else, right? Or you purposely didn't pack the lunch because in the back of your mind, in your subconscious, you knew you were going to go to the a la carte line and you were going to go smash some nachos, a burger, a brat, a cookie, and etc. That's crazy.
Yes, and I can do that more time. I did that more times than I can count on my hand.
Parkview Middle School.
Kelly, I planned star tuna lunch to go. It was healthier than my other choices. I love it. A la carte chicken nuggets. Yep, we've all been there.
Right.
We've all been there. But if that is something that you still are struggling with, and maybe you can make good choices during the week by winging it, but 9 times out of 10, by the time Thursday and Friday roll around, your willpower is completely depleted, and then you're going for the good stuff.
So yesterday, if you missed it, we talked about the Mount Everest conversation, right? We talked about that as far as kind of where you're headed and climbing to the peak, right? And we talked a lot about that yesterday. So if you're going to tackle a large goal, it's impossible to get there without some kind of plan. Some people's plans are better than others. But if you're going to tackle a large goal, the Mount Everest conversation, there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of skills, right? And then there's a lot of action. And the further up we go, the steeper it goes, right? So we have to persevere. That was kind of in a nutshell. We talked about that yesterday. So let's talk about this real quickly, right? Like, what if you have the most perfect plan in the world? You're following everything that we talked about. You're climbing Everest and you're like, you have the tools, you have the skills, you have the plan, and you're up steep, way up there, and all of a sudden, really crazy weather. It's windy, it's snowing.
Unannounced snowstorm.
Unannounced, like it's blustery. I mean, you're just getting your butt kicked here, and you're like, what do I do? Okay, so now this to me, it boils down to skill set. You default to your highest level of skill set. Okay, you default to your highest level of skill set, and it's commitment and discipline to keep on with the journey. I mean, making the absolute best decision that you can when faced with adversity and chaos. Maybe you get called into a meeting. Maybe you have to do something with the kids. Something happens that shakes up your day, and now you're left with, well, now what? So in this situation, do you end up at McDonald's? Do you end up at Quick Trip, but not, where do you end up and what decision? Do you decide not to eat anything, and then you're so hungry that you get home and you start smashing nachos while you're prepping dinner? So this is a conversation about like the reward conversation, right? Like, am I going to reward myself? Is it about having control? Is it about having discipline? Or a little bit now isn't going to hurt me later on? These are all things to consider and possible situations that are going to happen.
And for me, so the biggest takeaway for me is, like I said in the title, treats, cheats, and demons. Treats we don't have to demonize them. It's okay to have them. What we don't want you doing is every time something goes haywire, whether the schedule changes, you have a bad day, whatever it may be, that all of a sudden your emotions or something else takes over and you're reaching for these foods in habit. We want you to have the control, not the food, not your emotions, but you. Have a plan. Be ready for these moments because they're going to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess for me, my last point too would be, how can you enjoy everything life has to offer? How can you learn to enjoy it all? And again, like Coach Roxanne and she fasted, we fasted from alcohol together because alcohol was something that she didn't feel she had complete control over. I didn't completely fast from sugar, but we basically, we went way down on our sugar consumption, and I tracked it because for me, that was something I felt that I didn't have control. So number one, it's gaining control over it. Number two, it's being able to incorporate it without it kind of taking over our life or putting any form of any kind of good or bad around it. It's just, life presents itself with something. How can we enjoy this, but not get into such craziness that it just becomes like this over indulgence, right? And coping and all of that. So it's about finding balance. But again, that plan, that tracking, that knowing, it is so incredibly important. And if you feel like you do not have control over something for right now, I would say that fasting on some level from it, whether it's complete fasting and abstaining or finding a way to kind of track that, is incredibly important, because if it's controlling you versus you have control over it, this is something that we definitely need to work on.
And how do you stop it so it's not today?
Right.
And tomorrow and the next day, and all of a sudden we're 2-3 weeks down the road, we've lost all control, and now we have to work twice as hard to gain it back again. Kelly said, we ate out at McDonald's because it was quick over the weekend. I was so upset they got rid of their side salad. I ended up with a 4-piece nugget. Side salad was planned to go with it. My husband and son had the most food. And I try and tell, whenever we travel, we try to keep things with us just in case those moments happen. But they do happen.
Yeah.
But what happened the next meal? What happened the next breakfast? That's what matters. As long as you still had control in that moment and after that moment.
And I mean, a 4-piece nugget. Like, again, this is a great example, a conversation of you made a decision, and then again, how did the rest of the day unfold? And it's that what, why, lesson, apply, right? What happened? Why was it positive? Even if it's the craziest thing that you're like, this is not a positive thing. What happened? Why was it positive? What's the lesson? And what's the application? And only you know that. We can make suggestions, but you truly will know what the lesson is, and you will know what the application for the future is, right? So maybe the lesson is like, hey, I could roll up to a place that I think I know what the menu is going to be, and boom, it's not. Well, I have some kind of
I've got a Quest bar. I've got a protein bar, whatever. I've got, yes. Melanie, good morning. I haven't been able to log on in weeks. And the first thing I hear is Roxanne talking about her bra. That's why we're here. Tammy, I'm spot on this week, even tracking, and I don't like to track, making a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you can get amazing results without tracking. But there comes a time where either you want to get a little bit crazier in your results, you want to get a little bit more defined, and I believe tracking is such an amazing tool. Yes, it's not for everybody, not all the time, but tracking is an amazing tool. It's a mirror. We can think we're doing really well, but when results aren't coming our way, tracking can be an amazing mirror in our journey.
I love it, you guys. There's a great chat today. I have a whole nother piece of conversation that would drag this on for another 20 minutes.
Tomorrow?
Maybe, yeah.
Tomorrow, maybe.
Tune in tomorrow for the final nugget. Guys, Coach Jackie is joining us. She got great news, so we're going to wear our Coach Jackie shirts. We are going to try to invite as many friends and family to Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. Central, right here.
We're going to try and break some records. We've had 157. We want to try and break that record.
Get up and join us Saturday morning.
Yes.
And then if you want to join us for the May Challenge, registration is open. Go to the top of the fan page, comment with All In. We'll send you your invitation. Always a lot of fun. That starts on May 3rd, but registration is open now. And we'll be back here tomorrow with our final nugget of the week tomorrow on Friday.
Susan, first time ever I went on 2-week vacation in 3 weeks and only gained 2 pounds thanks to 21 Body Fit. I love it.
Oh,
I
two
love
vacations in 3 weeks.
Yes, wow.
Love
awesome
it, Susan.
Job.
You're awesome.
Once you build those habits, and you don't completely drop them off when you go on vacation, it's so easy to pick them back up, and it's so easy to maintain where you are. Awesome work. Chris, hit a plateau after 7 challenges, and tracking has gotten me over the hump. I love it.
Facts over feelings.
I love it. I love it. All right, my friends, we'll be back here tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
See you guys in 24 hours. Have a great day.